Welcome to the Big Movement Podcast. If you're ready to create results and make huge strides in your business, finances, personal development, and health, then you're in the right place. Pushing past excuses and powering through procrastination can be a challenge alone. Here, you'll get the support, tools, and knowledge you need to get to the level you desire in your business and life. Let's get started with your host, Byron Ingram.
And welcome to another episode of the podcast. And today we have Elizabeth Sunday on, who had previously left a job in teaching while in Italy to travel the world solo and ultimately volunteering in places like the Southeast Asia and the Middle East. And currently practicing meditation and being a travel planner, writer, and a courage maker. She's on a mission to help others fiercely follow their dream. So we're going to learn how she does all this and more. So Elizabeth, welcome.
Thank you. Hi.
So how did you embark on this journey? Because not everybody will want to go off on their own to live in different parts of the world and travel everywhere.
Yeah, this all started in 1999, actually. I finished my university and then I said, okay, let me do some volunteer job in Kenya for a month. And I fell in love with helping others. I think it's my talent, like trying to be useful and help. So I said, and I really loved and enjoyed traveling as well. So since then I started to work, to try to work abroad. And so I started to work in Kosovo after the war and in Albania, which is in Eastern Europe. And I was involved in projects helping women with domestic violence or like with poverty situations, And I really enjoyed that. But then I came back to Italy in 2005, yes. And I got a government job. I was employed in a public school in Italy. And after 3 years here, I said, okay, this is not my life. I'm not happy. So, I wanted to wake up in the morning and with a smile, not thinking and hoping to be somewhere else. So this is how everything started.
It's great. I think of so many times people go on these journeys, but they don't take enough time to discover themselves or to realize what makes them happy. Is you look at the number of people around the world, what they do every single day, it's the same thing, but they're miserable at it. You think of Mondays. And think of how many people are miserable, like, oh no, it's Monday again. And that's their reaction. By Friday, they're excited again because they're just going to obliterate themselves for the weekend and then they're hungover and starting Monday. So it's a never-ending cycle. But you broke out of that.
Yes, exactly. I was tired of these Mondays. And so I just said, okay, let me take a year off from the school because I could because I was employed by the public school. So in public school we can. So I just was searching for doing another volunteer job experience, but this time for free. I didn't want to be paid. I just wanted to be there. So I went to serve, to help in a Catholic mission. I don't know if you say mission in English. Actually, it's a Catholic place in Cambodia in Southeast Asia. There was a school, and so I was helpful there for a year. And really, after 5-6 months, it was not easy to adapt myself to the different culture. But after 5-6 months, I said, okay, this is what I want to do for a living. This is really a place where I can be happy. And when I remember one night I was there with frogs and lotus flowers and a lot of these kind of weird lizards. And I was looking at the sky and I said, okay, if I die today, it doesn't matter because I am where I want to be, doing what I want to do. I was really happy.
It's amazing that you say that because, I think of everybody should have that defining moment when you can look up at the sky, you can look at yourself in the mirror or look wherever, and you realize that you're doing what you've been wanting to do. It's like that never-ending search. You think of people go on these quest, or think of history of people that go searching for gold across the ocean and they search for years and years and never find it. And you think of how that relates to people in their lives, and that's what they're doing consistently. They're on that never-ending search, not realizing that the treasure is just a small adjustment away from where they're currently standing.
Yes, exactly. And I think that when you reach this point, then you can't go back anymore. So it was very hard for me to say, okay, now I go back to my teaching job in Italy, like 8 to 4 job and forever, because this is how you end up to be here living for your pension. But I want to live for my passion, as I say in my blog. So what did I do? I went back to Italy. I saved for a year. I went back to my teaching job. I saved a lot of money for a year. You know, I never went out to the restaurant, never going out, never. Just spending the weekends at home, reading books, self-help and motivational books, inspiring people. And then I took another year off. And I embarked in this journey in Asia. So I went again to Cambodia. From there, I went to Vietnam. And then I was teaching in China. I didn't like it. I left it. And I ended up in Thailand, where I opened my blog. I opened my blog to happytobehomesick.com. And I said, okay, now I want to try to be a writer. And actually, I am writing a book on that year. Then I said, okay, but you can never know what somebody bigger than you or the universe plans for you. Because I said, okay, now I want to try to be a digital nomad, working on your laptop. But then a friend of mine told me, why don't you come to Oman, which is near Dubai? They need some Italian-speaking tour guides. So I said, why not? Although I didn't know where Oman was. So I opened the map and I said, okay, let me try. So I went there and I started working as a tour guide while I was running my blog. And then I went to Iran, and then I came back from Iran. And everywhere I went, I noticed that I found a job everywhere, basically. I was in South Africa, I found an Italian teaching job there. I went to Iran, they offered me a job. I went to Oman, they offered me a job. So basically, what do you have to do? You have just to do the first step, to be courageous enough, to do the first step, to be brave.
Right. You have to be brave. It's something I think it's missing from people, where there's this underlying fear that if they step outside of their current comfort zone, they're going to fail and everything's going to come falling apart. But that's where life begins, is when you step outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. But we are afraid because we say, oh, and then what am I going to do? How am I going to pay the bills? And how am I going to find the money to do this first step and maybe leave everything and go travel for 6 months? Okay, but I mean, you don't have to, for example, go out every weekend and get drunk or have dinner outside. Okay, you can save money if you want it. You don't buy clothes for a year and then you leave. It depends on really what you want from your life. If you really want it, you can do it. I did it, yes. So anybody else can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's true that you say it, and you put it in that fashion, because you look at how many times people will spend money on things they don't even think about. I can remember sitting down with people and they would say, but we don't have any money left over at the end of the month. And then I'm looking at what they're spending. It's like, well, you're spending $70 a day or more eating out at restaurants. And then, exactly. Oh, you're doing these other things before, like if you just cut out these 4 things, you'll have a couple extra $1,000 a month. And the reaction is like, oh my gosh, we spend that much? Like, yes. Because you just don't think about it.
Yeah, I bought a second-hand car and I paid it, how do you say in dollars, $2,000.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I'm not spending $15,000 in a car, never, because I use those money to pay my tickets, flights.
Right. It's all about the lifestyle that you want to live and what's actually important to you, because for some people having a nice car is important. Like I work with people that are in real estate, and for them it's an important part of their business because they're representing themselves. But if you're traveling around in all these different places, well, what's more important, traveling, or you have this nice car that's going to sit still somewhere for a long time?
Yeah, exactly. So, and also when you travel, you learn to be light, to travel light inside and outside, both, So you become lighter because you just let everything go. You just start from zero and you just bring with you what you can store in a 20-kilo luggage. That's my world there, in 20 kilos.
Now, that must be quite the feat to put everything into 20 kilos. I have friends that if you told them 20 kilos, they're like, wait, are we talking like one bag or two bags, or can I like bring extra? Or like they need like, like they have to hire help to move all their luggage. Like, well, I want to be ready for any occasion. Like, you need like a small bus to take your luggage with you. What's going on here?
Yeah, that's true. But then when you travel, you find out that you don't need 15 t-shirts, because you always wear the one you prefer, which are maybe 4 or 5 t-shirts, not more. And then you continue to go to the laundry and wash the same t-shirts that you love. So you really don't need 15 t-shirts, for example,
Oh yeah, I think people can take it to an extreme. Some of my friends jokingly say, do you always wear the same type of stuff? Like, yes, because it's simple. It's one less decision I have to make. Like, why do I want to wake up and think of, should I wear this shirt or that one? Like, okay, they're all the same color. I'm picking any of them. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. The most difficult thing was to leave my books at home. The first trip I did, I brought like 10 kilos of books. I mean, just in my hand. But yeah. But then I said no. So I had to give up my books and buy an ebook reader. So this is really better. I don't like them at all, but for my traveling is better. So I can have all my books with me again.
Well, it's something that it's just logical. Sure, do you get the same feeling of holding a book in your hands? No, but at the same time, if you're going to be traveling around for a couple months, I just can't imagine someone saying, "What? Why is this bag so heavy?"
Exactly.
Well, it's full of books. Like, you have a library. Even Amazon is jealous of what you have in there.
It's true. I remember in China with China Southern, I had to pay like 80 euros, which is mostly, I don't know, $90 just for my extra kilos. And I said, excuse me, so I can buy my books again. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure that prompted you to start thinking, maybe this e-reader thing is not a bad idea.
Yeah. Yes, it's really like that.
Since it doesn't take too many flights before you would have bought all your books over again, bought a really nice reader, and then had money to go out to dinner someplace really nice. Instead of like, I'm paying to ship my books. This is great.
Yeah, and then I could always buy my second-hand books. I mean, there are many stores in Asia where you can buy them for really like $2 or $3. And then when you finish to read them, you just pass it to somebody else. So that's fine also.
Right. And that's so true. It's all a matter of what you want to do with the books that are there, because you don't have to always buy something that's brand new. And I think it's a resource when people are looking at developing and growing themselves. You don't always have to go out and buy a brand new book. You can go to a library. You can go to a secondhand bookstore and find so many amazing books in either place.
Yes, exactly. I remember my first second-hand book I bought was Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. And then, it was really inspiring. But then it was also nice to give it to somebody else, and it can be life-changing for somebody else too. And it was fine.
Right. I think of how many people, when I occasionally look on different social media networks, and you'll see people saying, oh, I don't have the ability to do that. I can't do this. There's a lot of I can'ts there. But people don't want to make the time to, let's say, go to the library to pick up a book to read because it's free to use them. Or if you wanted to learn about different presentations, you hear a speaker like, oh my gosh, I'd love to learn more about whatever that topic is. And they don't take the time to go to YouTube and watch a video that they've put out there. There's so many resources. It's just changing your mindset about what's possible.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah.
But that's what you have to do more of. So when you moved all over the place, and especially in these different countries, did you find it to be challenging? Because some people, they have this misconception of if they go somewhere new, it's going to be this strange world where they're like, they don't know how to do anything. Like, how do you buy groceries? How do you do something simple like crossing the street? Did you find that it was very different from Italy compared when you started going all these other countries?
Yeah. It was very difficult because I was traveling alone. So as a woman traveling alone, it was not always easy. Also because I was a little maybe shy to eat alone in a restaurant where maybe in the other tables there were sitting nice couples and me, I was there alone with my book. So it was a little bit like, okay, let me eat in my room alone in the hostel. But then, you face your fears. So little by little, you face your fears also to be in a museum alone, to cross the street like in Vietnam, in Saigon, where it was crazy, full of motorcycles here and there. But, little by little, and usually, let's say that in my personality is a little bit weird because I'm not afraid of anything. Basically, I'm very brave. So I say, okay, let me try to go there. The weirdest the place, the more I want to go. So that's how I ended up alone in Iran, and I was a little bit scared because it was not nowadays. It was 2012, which was a little bit more weird to travel there alone. But I discovered a new world, and people were amazing, and not like what the mass media say about Iran. Not at all. It's completely different. So it's nice to discover that what people say is not true. And so it was really safe for me to travel there alone, really safe. So I was really happy to be there. You have to face also the feeling to be lonely, because when you are alone in a place you don't know, where you don't know anybody, you have to face yourself. All your fears will come out. You cry alone, and then you call on Skype your friends and you say, I feel lonely, why I'm not there with you? And then you learn to listen to yourself and you say, okay, is this what I want? Yes, no, or maybe not, so I change. While here in Italy, I was, when I don't want to listen to myself, I get on a car and I turn on the radio. I come home, I open my laptop, I watch TV. But there I can't. So you have to face yourself.
Right. So what was that like being in Iran? Because, so many people, the only exposure they have to different countries is what they see on the media. They've never had the opportunity to talk to someone has been like, oh, no, it's not like that. That happened way over there. And that's that one thing that people blow out of proportion. So what was it really like?
Okay, when I was there, I did couch surfing, which is this website where you can be hosted by someone local. So you go there couch surfing, but I had always a bed actually. So when I went there, I was hosted by a guy in first time, and then a girl. This girl became one of my best friends now. She's Iranian from Tehran. And I really discovered they are just like us. Their lives are same as ours. Just outside, they have to pretend to be what they are not. But then when they are inside their houses, they do whatever they want. I can't go in details, but they really like us. So, and it's safe also, and beautiful, amazing country.
Oh, that's great to hear, because I think that's one of the beautiful things. If you look at social media and if you build the relationships, you can start seeing that no matter where you are in the world, people have the same interests, the same dreams, the same goals in life. They want to provide for their family. They want to travel. They want to experience things. And it's not like someone paints a particular country, oh, no, these people are evil. They're like going, no, we're not. We just want to go hang out with our friends just like you do. But that story's not told.
Yes, exactly. And then they are extremely friendly and also generous. And the more you go to poor families, the more they are generous, the more they give. They have just a little bit and they give it to you. This is everywhere, even in Africa and everywhere.
It's interesting if you think about that difference, in some places where if you go there, you're going to find people are very welcoming. They're going to want to invite you in. They want to give and give and give. Even when there's not a lot to give, they're wanting to invite you into their home, versus other places are like, wait, no, we're not doing that. It's just a different cultural mindset depending on where you are in the world.
Yes, exactly. Somebody once told me, I'm not afraid to give, because I'm not afraid to open the door of my house to foreigners because I have very little. So you're not going to steal anything from here. So just that when the more you have, the more you're afraid, oh my God, it's going to steal my big TV or other things, but they have no gold, nothing. They have just themselves. And that's what they give, their heart.
Right. And I think that's often one of the most valuable things in the world is when you can give from yourself and make that impact. It changes things. It's no longer about how many physical items you have, what are you showing off, because if you look at some of the recent storms that have taken place in the world, or earthquakes, you name it, where people lost everything, you can see that people who are thriving right away because they've built up that social capital and they're able to thrive because of it, because they're always giving, and people want to see them get back on their feet versus that person that just kind of hoards things and no one knows who they are. So it's a fascinating thing to look at how, if you're giving, it comes back to you tenfold.
Absolutely. There is something I always tell to people. In 2001, I went to volunteer in Madagascar, in Africa, for 2 months. But I had no job at that time and very, very little money in my bank account. So I said, okay, they need me, I'm going there, and then something will happen. I went there, it was November and December. I came back at the end of December. On the 10th of January, a school called me for 6 months substitution. So I got all my money back. So the more you give, the more you receive.
Oh, yes, definitely. And something that people have to focus more on, it's not always that financial aspect, because there's some people who think, well, if I just write bigger checks, more is going to come back. Well, it's not always about that. It's that gift of time, that gift of energy, that of what you can do to make an impact in people's lives, because people will always remember how you made them feel.
Yeah, this is true, exactly. Everybody I met, any person I met all over the world, I remember how they made me feel, how they make me feel welcomed, or how humble they were, and how I felt comfortable with them. Yes, this is true. Yeah.
And it's just something that we have to focus more on in life, because if people around the world in general took the time to make a difference in people's lives, regardless of where they're from, so many changes can happen as a result of it.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, that's what happened to me when I went to India, where I started my spiritual journey. I just ended a very tough relationship I had. And I said, okay, now I have to start from myself. When you give too much and then you are like, you end up with no energy at all. So I said, okay, let's start from myself. And I went to India to attend a Buddhist meditation retreat. And this really changed my life. First of all, because in India, speaking about time, they don't count the passing of the time with hours. They count it with time. So, for example, you are there, you are waiting. I say, sorry, but this activity isn't it starting in 10 minutes? Okay, just drink one more chai and then, okay, we will start maybe after half an hour. And you are there and you say, okay, what am I going to do now? I have no laptop, no internet, nothing. Okay, you just sit there and enjoy the nature. Yeah, so this is what you learn.
Right. And I think it's fascinating when you look at how people view time differently. That you're going to have some that will measure every last bit of it because they want to maximize productivity in the day. But then there's other people who view it differently because they want to maximize the relationships in the day.
This is true. And when you come back after many years in Asia, people say, why you're so late? Why you're so slow? So I remember a friend of mine told me, so what time are we going to meet? And I said, 8 o'clock. And they said, okay, but Switzerland time or your African time? And I said, sorry, African time. I can never be in time anymore. Yeah.
Of course, when you think about that, it must be challenging if you have to make let's say a flight somewhere. If it says they're leaving at 8 o'clock in the morning, you better be there.
That's my biggest nightmare. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure that has to be a challenge. Oh no, I have to worry, I have to rush there.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Although I can't imagine someplace in the world that you have the airport like, we're leaving on the island time. Like if it says 2 o'clock, no, what they really mean is leaving about 4. I don't really think that happens.
Yes.
As that would be quite the shocker. So with all the traveling around the world and doing so many things, is it hard, like, because you're doing it by yourself, is it hard to build, let's say, like relationships with people, or someone, because you had mentioned that you had got out of a relationship before going to India? Because for some, I think that might be a deterrent. Like, well, how can I have a relationship if I want to travel and experience all these things in the world? And they might look like, well, who's going to want to do that with me?
Yeah, it's not easy, let's say, because you have really to stay in a place. I mean, or you can have a boyfriend who, after a while, he leaves you free or she leaves you free. But let's say that I had a boyfriend before when I started. I left in 2012, but after 7 months, I was different. He was the same because he was staying here in Italy, but I was different. I changed because you can't be the same after 7 months traveling alone. And so the relationship just ended. And then, yes, also when you find somebody abroad, as I did, you have to find somebody with your mindset who let you free. You can't find a too jealous, possessive man. So Italian man, no way.
Well, okay, listeners out there, for the ladies, just take that in mind. If you're going to be a digital nomad, you might want to look elsewhere than Italy for that guy. No matter what you might hear, you might want to look different.
Exactly.
For everyone else, that means there's a chance. So, but it's what you said there. It's important because it doesn't matter if you're traveling or not, that there has to be that equilibrium in terms of personal growth and development, because I'll see it in a multitude of relationships where one person, they're investing in themselves daily by doing things. Other person's just content watching TV all the time. Well, yeah. It's like in 7 months with you that you're a different person. It happens everywhere where you'll look at and realize, how in the world are those two together? Because they're night and day. But at one point, they were at the same place. Just one made the decision to invest in themselves and grow, and the other one decided to remain stagnant.
Yeah, it's true. Yes. But anyway, yeah, it's very challenging. But you can't stay with some person who doesn't want to grow. Yeah, you want to grow. Otherwise, you can't stay with someone who's just there watching TV and continue the same life until you wake up, you're 50 and you say, why? What kind of life did I have? And you're 50-year-old and, it's not too late, but still, yeah. You just wake up too late.
Exactly. And you have to hope that there's that wake up moment long before, like, someone's turning 50 or 60, but you see that happening with some people, that they were doing things to please other people instead of what makes them happy, and as a result, they realize, oh my gosh, 30 years of working just went by in a blink of an eye, and they realized they were never happy from day one.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes, we are trapped, we feel trapped, but what people say, the expectations of others. Yeah. For example, if I had to listen to what my parents were telling me, they would say, are you crazy to leave a public school job? In Italy now, there is a big unemployment. What are you going to do? So I sit with my dad at that time and I said, listen, my dad was a mayor of my town and he really followed his passion. And I told him, listen, you followed your passion. I want to follow my passion too, but my passion is not politics, it's not following the political things, but it's something different. I want to be a writer, I want to help people, I want to motivate people. And he said, you will see, you are too, you have ideas that they will never come true. But then I was right to follow my passion. But I had the courage to talk to my dad, to sit and talk to him. So you have really to not to be scared, and don't listen to the naysayers who say, you're never going to do it. Okay, I will prove it to you. You just have not to listen and just to follow your heart and your instinct.
Well, you have to, because the naysayers are everywhere, because it's not that they don't want to see you succeed. It's more they don't want to see you fail and fall down and hurt yourself.
Yeah. This is true. And sometimes they're also like jealous of you. They because you have the life that they want to have, but they are not courageous enough to do it.
Oh, yes. And for them, they don't want to see someone that they personally know become successful because for them, then it's a reminder of what they are not doing. So they'd rather
Yes.
keep everybody the same so then they feel better about themselves, which is why it's so important you pick and choose who you spend time with when you're not working or even
Yeah.
when you're working.
This is true. Yes. You should be brave and just not listen and just follow your path.
Right. And you have to follow your path. If people didn't do that, look at all the things we wouldn't have in the world today. If think of like some of the computers that we have, where the technologies, because someone decided, I'm going to create this. They have this vision, even though people thought they're insane. Well, guess what? Those little insane ideas that started in the garage of someone's home are now
True.
billion-dollar companies because someone followed their passion. They followed their vision and dream of what they wanted to make happen.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, you have really to follow your vision. Yeah. And of course, like stay focused and work hard.
Oh yes, you have to work hard. There's nothing in life that's going to take place if you are not willing to work hard. You just can't wake up and say, "Oh, I'm just going to sit on the couch," and it's magically going to happen on its own. No.
Yeah, never. And I also saw many blogs who opened in 2012, like mine, and now they are closed. Like the last post they wrote was in maybe 2015 or 2014, because after a while they say, oh, they start to become lazy, but you have to continue, otherwise, nothing. You're going to be in the same place and forever.
Right. Speaking of blogs, because so many people, they have that mindset. If I just put a single blog post out there and suddenly I'll be famous and then I don't have to work anymore. I can live on the beach and just drink cocktails.
Yeah.
Once you started, I mean, like everyone's like, "Ooh, that sounds like fun." But once you started your blog, how long was it before you started really seeing results from it?
A couple of years, at least 2 years, 2 or 3 years. Now I have 7,500 followers, but the first 2 years maybe I had 1,000. 1,500, because you have to wait and you have to continue. But what I want to say to people who want to open their own blog and website, or also a travel blog, you have to to find your niche first and to work consistently, even once every 15 days, but quality posts. And you don't have to think about numbers or to think about, I want to monetize my blog. Just follow your passion, as I did. And then things will come. Not first you think
Right.
about money, how to monetize your blog, and then you write. No, I never thought about making money out of my blog. I just wanted to share with people what I was doing. That's it.
Right. And you touched on something which I think is really important for people to understand when they're wanting to build that digital presence. It starts with building a community first. Even though you might have the idea in the back of your head, like you want to be able to make money with this from at some point, you have to focus on attracting a crowd. And once that they know, like, and trust you, then it's easier to make those recommendations saying, hey, here's a great product I found. Like, oh, here's this great thing in terms of how you can travel cheaper and so on. Because they
Yeah.
see you as a person they can trust versus, oh, you're just trying to sell me stuff.
Exactly. Yes, I never put one single advertisement on my blog until now. First of all, you don't make much money from that, but because I really want it to be real. And I said, if I want to make money, I will make money from something else. And that's what I did. Yes, because they know that what I say is from my heart and is true.
Right. And you have to speak from the heart because you look at the amount of content that's out there, and while there's many pieces written and created that's authentic, there's so much more that it's not. And because of it, people think, well, no, why do I want to connect with this person? Versus if you show up the same way every single day, people are going to be more inclined to want to interact with you and the content you're putting out there because it's making a difference.
Yes, exactly. I wanted to start with a normal travel blog, but then after a few weeks, it turned out to be a motivational blog. I started to inspire people to change life. I didn't know that. I wanted to be a travel blog, but then I started to speak about travels and then my adventures and then how I left my job in Italy. And, things came like this natural because I was natural.
Right. And you have to write in a way that it makes sense, because then you're going to attract the people that you want to attract, because they're going to be the ones who are interested in that growth and that personal development versus the people that are, let's say, just looking for travel advice. Because you think about it, if you're trying to compete with everybody else on the same exact terms, well, then you're just another face in the crowd
Yeah.
versus being that individual that stands out there. And so people can know, like, oh, well, that makes sense. Maybe I should
Yeah.
listen to what you have to say, because you're that
Yeah.
authority, that celebrity in the niche.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And that's the way to go on the first page on Google search. For example, if you, I write in Italian. If you write, search for something about, written in Italian about Oman or about traveling alone, that's in the first page of the Google, my blog. But I didn't make it, because on purpose. It came natural. It came natural.
Well, and that's something for people to think about. It's that there's so many ways to become an authority in a niche, because it's, instead of trying to compete with everyone out there who might be writing on similar topics in English, where there might be thousands of blogs. Well, now you become only one of a handful. So you're able to compete much more effectively. And sure, you're going after a very specific marketplace, but we have to remember, as an entrepreneur, we don't have to service everybody as a client. We just need to find that group of loyal followers who are willing to invest in the things that we're putting out there consistently. And that's how we can make a great living.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm opening a new website right now, and it's just about meditation. But there is a lot of meditation around. Everybody now is doing mindfulness, so you can find pretty much the same things. But what I have to do, I think, is just like being myself, shooting some videos for YouTube, being myself, because I meditate in a very natural and also sometimes humorous way. And this is me. So I made a small trial in my Facebook page, and people followed me, more than 200 people, because they said, nice, great, we love it the way you meditate, because I am myself. If I want to follow the path of somebody else, then I will always be, yes, one in the crowd.
Right. And that is so true. You have to be willing to be yourself regardless, because so many people, they don't do that. They mistake this notion that in order to be successful, they have to be just like everybody else in the world, instead of saying to themselves, how can I be the best version of me and let everybody know it?
Yeah. Yes, but you have to be
That's what makes a
brave, huh,
difference.
to be the best version of you, because we have a lot of self doubt. The self esteem can be low. You say, "I'm afraid." But I'm also here saying, should I really start this blog? Maybe no, they will tell me, "Oh, she's weird. Why she's making meditation in this way?" Or you shouldn't listen to that small voice. You should just go, and then things will come. Things will follow.
Right, exactly. You have to do it in that fashion. It's, once you discover your voice, you're going to attract the people that you're meant to attract, and they're going to keep coming to you because of it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Right, definitely. So as we begin wrapping up things here, what's one thing that you would recommend that people do if they're truly wanting to follow their passions in the world?
Yeah. What I always say is follow your instinct, because you can never fail. If, for example, you're about to do something like, I want to leave everything and travel, but you feel when it's not for you, you start to be anxious, you feel a small voice that says, I'm not happy. I always say, do the thing that make your eyes brightening. When you speak about that, you say, yes, I will go there, I will leave this job, I'm tired of this job. And when you speak about a new life, your eyes started to be like a sun. So that's your path. So follow that. Follow that light. What makes your eyes speaking and be alive?
Right. Exactly. It's what makes all the difference in the world. So I want to thank you for coming to the podcast today. And how can people learn more about what you do?
Yes, so they can follow my blog, so toohappytobehomesick.com, and I will open this elizabethsunday.com, which will be in English and Italian this time. So it's about meditation, it's about traveling and life changing.
Oh, that's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
definitely. Once again, I want to thank you for coming to the podcast today and sharing your wealth of wisdom.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks for listening to the Big Movement Podcast today. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Now that you've surely been inspired to take your entrepreneurial career and business to the next level, you can stop by the website and get more. And if you're ready to boost your business brand, be sure to grab your free report, 7 Easy Steps to Build Your Brand Today.